Hi, my name's Gia and I've been a celebrity makeup artist for the past 20 years. I'm also a fan of makeup and intrigued by the politics of beauty. On True Reflections, you get to peek behind the curtain and find out what your favourite celebrities really feel about their appearance when the glare of the media is upon them. So, who is my guest today? My guest today is all about authenticity, transformation, and the stories we wear both on our faces and in our hearts. A woman who has shared her journey with millions around the world, challenging taboos, celebrating vulnerability, and now opening up like never before in her brand new memoir. Dear Alyne, my years as a married virgin. In this conversation, we do talk about Aylene's eating disorder. If you're affected by what you hear, please visit beateatingdisorders.org. But without further ado, please welcome to True Reflections, Alyne Tamir.
Hi.
Thank you very much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me. So happy to be here.
I've had a wonderful time reading this. This is your brilliant book, My Year as a Married Virgin, which I can't wait. I mean, it just seems like a contradiction in terms. So we're going to have a jolly good chat about that. But first of all, I always love to ask people, what makeup are you wearing today?
Today I am wearing the Goop primer sunscreen. I'm wearing underneath for skincare the vitamin C LaRoche Posay.
Oh yeah, love that.
I'm wearing under eye concealer I just got at Selfridges.
Which one?
Hourglass.
Oh,
they sold me and I love it. Yeah, I'm just so bougie. Brows are e.l.f. We're going back to drugstore.
Yeah.
And microblading. Lips are the Nooni Lip Oil that I showed you earlier.
Which I love. That is beautiful.
And I have my lips permanently colored.
Do you know, we had someone else on the other day who had it permanently coloured. Does that mean that you kind of can get out of bed and just be like...
I have pink lips 24/7. I wake up and it looks like I have lipstick on.
Does it hurt to have that done?
It's extremely painful.
How long does it take?
It takes like an hour, hour and a half, and then you have to do it again a week later, and then your like lips swell. Like it looks like you were...
Had a lip...
Like it looks like you were stung by a bee.
Okay.
Listen, I didn't know that before I did it in Turkey, and she was like, "Do you want your lips colored?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And then I was like, "Oh my god, this is traumatic."
And do you sort of try and figure out what color you're going to get? As in, do they give you options?
They showed me options, and you know, like it's like with lipstick, it doesn't always look the same on you as on the thing. Yeah. So I was like, we're gonna take a gamble. We're gonna go for a vaguely pink color. It's not the exact color I like, I'm gonna be honest, but it is better than how I looked before in the mornings, which was like no color. Like I have colorless lips.
That's extraordinary. But that's weird that the colors, that they don't kind of really try and harmonize or just, you know, a bit more science to it on what color would work.
They might, but it was, you know, I've noticed a lot with beauty treatments and beauty places, especially as it gets more popular. They just like have a fast turnover. They're like, get in, do your thing, get out. They're not like sitting with you and having a consultation and like, hey, let's really look at your color palette.
Yeah,
you know,
because I'm really into the sort of color harmonizing from what you wear through to from a makeup point of view. So if I'm doing someone's makeup, I'll look at their skin tone, the undertones of their skin, their eye color, etc., and try and harmonize. So you kind of think, right, it'd be a lovely thing if they could actually do that, because then your color is perfect. But I think it would be really interesting for them to do that, and you're like, this is the tone, I want a more pink version or a more blue undertone or peachy or whatever.
I wish.
Yeah, anyway, Turkey's amazing. I hear all sorts of things about having, you know, apparently when you get on the plane, there's hundreds of men who've all got
yeah, they all have not hundreds, but you know, you see even on the streets, not everyone, a lot of people have like bandaged noses because they had their nose jobs, or they have the hair transplant, that little weird thing around, and you can see it looks like they just had a surgery, like the little dots from the hair growing in.
And they're just quite proud there.
I mean, proudly is maybe not the right word, but it is the one place you can get away with it and nobody's like, oh my god, why does your face look like that? Everyone's used to it.
Why has Turkey suddenly become this place that everybody kind of...
I mean, Turkey's been like a medical tourism destination for a while, but I think now because of social media, everything gets popularized.
Yeah.
And has more reach faster. They just are really good at it. They've done it so many years, the nose jobs and the hair transplants.
Wow. Well,
I used to go there all the time for beauty stuff.
Did it? Oh, well, I'm very curious.
We can go to Turkey together.
I'd love to go to I'd like to try it out. I don't know what I'd have done. But anyway, that's another conversation. But I think what I love about you, and from looking into your social media and reading your book, which I absolutely loved, I love your openness and transparency. And you literally, I think people really connect with other people when there's that openness.
Yeah.
And it just is an instant warmth and a humanity in how you talk. And I think the key area that I think people would be interested in is about the Mormons. And for people that don't know much about the Mormon culture, religion, etc., tell me a bit more about how all that worked, how it was growing up.
Sure. So in Mormonism, I first should acknowledge there's what Mormons are now and what Mormons used to be.
Okay.
So when Mormonism started, it did have polygamy, right? Having many wives. Everyone always immediately is like, Mormons, are you polygamous? I'm not. Like my great-great-grandparents were in our old family pictures. It's like one man in a Victorian outfit with all his wives and
How
kids.
many did he have?
I don't even
Too many.
Yeah, I didn't ask. I was like, oh, I'm gonna ignore this family history picture. That was normal for them back then. Now it's against the rules of the church,
Okay.
but on earth. So as we talked about a little in the book, I go into this all in detail in the book because it is a bit convoluted for a normal conversation. But like after you die, there's heaven, right? And in heaven, men can have multiple wives in Mormonism, but we never talk about it like at church. Like we never acknowledge that that's actually the doctrine that we're being taught. So what is like the actual day-to-day life of a Mormon now like? I cannot wear what I'm wearing. This is against the rules. You cannot wear sleeveless.
Okay.
I cannot wear the skirt. You cannot have anything above your knee. So I would need something down to here.
Makeup?
You can wear makeup. Actually, Mormons love makeup. Mormons love beauty.
Okay.
Because Mormon women, you're kind of raised to get married. And you want the best marriage partner. So you want to be as beautiful as you can to have the best partner. And looks are actually a big part of the Mormon church. Like you're raised to take care of how you look. Like they talk about eating healthy and they talk about taking care of your appearance. Like it's part of church actually. So when I went to university at a Mormon university with 30,000 other Mormons in Utah, it was like, it was voted like the #1 hottest university in the US multiple times by like US News. And all the girls and everyone like does their hair and does their makeup every day is like, it's not like a college campus you see in US movies where people go to school in like their PJs and their hoodies. No, everyone's like dressed super cute every single day.
And are the men as well, or is it mostly the women who are doing this?
The men also take care of their looks and are also very handsome. You're not allowed to have a beard because you need to have a clean appearance. So at university, you have to get a permission card if you're going to have a beard as a man. Otherwise, you have to be clean shaven every day.
Wow.
You cannot have long hair. You cannot look unkempt. So all the men have short hair. You know, like you can have like an inch of hair. That's it. And it has to be, you have to look nice. They won't let you take an exam. Like, let's say you go to take an exam. If you're a man and you have a beard and you haven't shaved and you look dirty, you can't take your exam. Like, you can fail all your classes if you don't look pulled together.
That's extraordinary. And that's still very rigid, or is there any? Because
very rigid.
Society is sort of relaxing in a lot of ways, but that's still very much the case.
Rigid. At the university, it's rigid. Listen, in your day-to-day life, no other Mormon's gonna come and give you a ticket for having a beard or something. But if you are at an institution of Mormonism, a university, or trying to go into the temple or these other types of things, you have to follow all the rules.
That is, I did not know that. And I think that's absolutely extraordinary. And so for you growing up, how did that feel? How did you feel about your appearance, having to keep to these rules when you were a teenager? And
I hated it. I hated it. Because, first of all, I mean, my hair is straightened today because it's curly, so it was insane. So I had to straighten it so that I look like a normal person today. But growing up, like at church, the pretty girls were the really thin, blonde, blue-eyed girls. Like Mormonism is a very like originally white religion. So that's like the peak beauty. I'm also from Los Angeles in the 90s, which peak beauty was also blonde hair, blue eyes, 90210, Pamela Anderson, all these people that I didn't
Avril
look
Lavigne
like.
was someone that you looked up
Avril
to as like
Lavigne with her stick straight hair.
the straight hair.
I was like, oh, the dream hair.
So did you find that there was no one you could identify with who looked like you, who was deemed attractive in popular culture?
No, yeah. And when I was younger, I felt fine about how I looked, and I had straight hair. Like, my mom has straight hair. I had straight hair until puberty, until I was 12. And then when I went through puberty, my hormones changed, and my hair became curly.
Isn't that extraordinary? Because I love in the book, you talk about you got up at 5 a.m. to get your appearance ready. So the pressures from the Mormon culture was to look presentable. You've got to look a certain way to get the husband, to get to be a certain level of attractiveness. Tell me what you used to do in the morning.
Oh yeah, I would wake up 5 a.m., sometimes 4:30. I would straighten every piece of hair on my head to oblivion. No one even knew I had curly hair. Like at the end of high school, after 4 years with all these friends.
Did you go swimming? What happened if you're not swimming?
Specifically, I'm not swimming. I'm not going near water, humidity, rain. No. This hair is not touching liquid. Okay. No one will know. If I did go to a pool, I didn't go underwater. Like my hair's in a bun. I hated hot tubs because even if your hair's in a bun, like the humidity rises and it makes it frizzy.
Little bits, the frizzy hair pop out, and it's like, no, that's not me.
No, not I.
So you felt a lot of pressure to look a certain way.
Yeah, and in Mormonism, like, listen, my mom was also a very strict Mormon. So before school, she would be like, hey, stand up, put your hands up. If your shirt comes up when your arms are up, you have to change, right? And also touch your toes. If your back shows like any skin when I would bend over, everyone's back shows skin if you bend. No, who's bending over? I'm not walking around like this, mom, you know? So I also had an extremely strict mom, right?
Yeah.
That was Mormon and very, very strict. And it was just LA in the 90s. Even now today with social media, people are very crazy about how you look.
Yeah, no,
it didn't really get better.
No, I don't. Well, I think there's a whole, it hasn't got better. We think it's got better. There's more accepting it, but I still think the pressures are there. And now with the advancement of more, the social media and all the filters, I think it's getting harder and harder. But it was interesting. So you went through a period of eating disorder.
Yeah.
Growing up as a teen. Talk me through that and how that affected your self.
So I think the eating disorder started probably when I was everything starts at puberty, at least for me, right? When I was 11 or 12, my dad had just moved back to Israel. My parents got divorced when I was 11, 12. As we talk about in the book, my mom was Mormon and my dad was Jewish. So I had two very different kind of parenting styles pulling back and forth. And the eating disorder came, I think my body started getting curvier as it happens during puberty. You become a woman.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, absolutely not. I don't like this. I feel fat all the time. And so I just started like restricting what I would eat more and more. You see in the movies and on TV, everybody's so thin and beautiful. All the girls who were no boys liked me. No boys liked me. And I was like, they only like the blonde skinny girls.
Because you talk about in the book how so many, it was always the other girls that got the attention and the men were never noticing you.
Yes.
And I think that sort of the pressure was immense. Do you think the Mormon culture puts huge amounts of pressure on having to look a certain way? Or do you think that was just you as a teen coming up?
It was both, but it was, in my opinion, a lot of it was the Mormon church. It wasn't like they did it on purpose. It's just you see who is more popular and you see
who's getting the dates.
Who's getting the dates at church, and you see what the Mormon boys like. And you see, even in like a magazine, you see who's on the cover, right, of anything, or you see who's treated differently. So I wouldn't blame the church more than something else. But I mean, even if you look at the history of the Mormon church, like it's a tiny bit racist, not even against, I'm not going to go into that too much, but it's a little racist, right? So And Mormons are originally super white. They're like Northern Europeans. They're all super, super white. So if you look at like the people who started the church, they're all the blonde hair, blue-eyed people. That's my mom. My mom is a blonde hair, blue-eyed Mormon.
So how was that looking at your mum who fitted the mold as a Mormon? I mean, happy days for her, because she was like, do you think she had the pressures that you had by having, I mean, dark hair? I mean, it's ridiculous. I love having dark hair, but
Yeah.
I I never experienced that, but in different ways, I think, in society. But how was it different? How did you find her being fitting the mold? Did that put pressure on you?
I felt jealous. Not jealous. I felt cursed. I was like, I'm so close. My own mother has blue eyes and blonde hair. It could have been me, but I got my dad's genetics, and even to this day, I'm like a little annoyed, and I try not to be.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, blonde hair, blue eyed people get so many privileges from my lens. I could have a skewed lens. So in my skewed world, I'm like, if I had that, my life would be easier, or like this and that. So yeah, it always was hard for me that she had blonde hair and blue eyes.
But like when you look back into societal kind of studies on appearance politics, which I find absolutely fascinating, the patriarchy, for want of a better term, particularly in the West, they wanted to kind of keep sort of subjugated, if that's the right word, a lot of people who, blacks, people from different ethnicities, that they didn't want to kind of rise up. So through the media, it was a great platform to use that as like, this is the ideal, this is attractive, everybody, and you wouldn't see any other sort of styles of appearance that's representative of society.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to keep those people lower, and they had the power. So it's a very strategic, clever thing they did, and it kind of works to a certain extent. Black women weren't seen; they weren't celebrated in a beauty way that they are now.
Yeah.
And so I think it's we're all part of the process.
Yeah, I know it is interesting, and it is historical. I mean, even on my Jewish side, like sometimes I think about like the Holocaust, and I'm like, oh, like having the type of nose I have or the type of hair I have, like, will make it obvious, like, that you're Jewish. And if you were blonde hair and blue-eyed, you literally survive. You literally don't die.
Yeah.
So, like, in some way, I'm going to be honest, I have struggled with liking how I look my whole life. And, like, I fight to like how I look. I fight to be confident. I fight to, be happy with how I look. But the truth is, it has been a struggle. It was never easy. I was never like, yay, this is great.
It is. And I think, makeup and everything can have a certain power, and it does, because, talk me through your straightening days. You as you said, you didn't have, your real self didn't come out until you were much, much, older. You've been able to embrace your hair and choose days when you're going to be really you.
Yeah.
So that's a huge amount of pressure.
It's a lot. And I think something that I learn, so for me, like in life, I go through these waves of learning, right? So there was a few years where I almost never wore makeup on social media when I was uploading. Almost wore no makeup, had my curly hair. Honestly, I look back and I'm like, I looked bad. I'm going to be real. I did look bad, but I didn't care. It wasn't like important to me. And you realize, like, and I was successful. I got really good engagement, and I got really good views, and I had a good career, and I looked completely natural. No eyebrows done.
Does that tell you something, though, that people, the thing I find
they like that
in your book, which I love, because of your authenticity, because of your realness, I think that allows people to get more into they get more, not sounds a wrong word, but more out of you. Yeah. There's so much more like, oh, thank God, someone is just talking in a real way. They're looking real.
Yeah.
And I think we all love that. We love that. And I think it's celebrating your realness. And when you read your posts on social media, when you read your book, everything in there just makes you as a human being, particularly as a female, feel so much more thank God she's feeling it too. And I think it's such a thank you for doing that in this book. Yeah. I think for any woman who's feeling a bit like, oh, how am I feeling about my appearance? Am I going through one of those stages where I'm not feeling great? this is a book that really does lift your spirits.
And that's what I want. That's what I wanted in the book. The reason I wrote the book when I could have just posted about this stuff on social media, because that's where I kind of have my audience, is there's some deeper topics I wanted to go into that if I posted about them on social media might just become a controversial post as opposed to someone actually seeing what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And that's the benefit of having like a long form story is you can talk about, like, I talked about how I cheated on my husband, right? I talked about my eating disorder. I talked about leaving my religion. These things, when you distill it to a 30 to 1 minute, second to 1 minute video on social media, someone is going to see it. And even if they want to agree with you, they're just going to think, oh, I'm going to judge her, or she's dumb, or she's this. And the whole point of me talking about kind of this journey through beauty, through acceptance, through life is so that other people can see, like, we all kind of do things wrong. We all kind of learn from our mistakes. And at the core, it's just tell people who you are. Like, yeah, I'm a flawed person, right? I'm not perfect. I used to try so hard. That's a Mormon thing. That's a Mormon thing, is be perfect. Do not make a mistake. Do not make the tiniest mistake.
Well, the rule, I mean, it's, I think what's really difficult, and you explain this in the book, is about being absolutely perfect. Like when you're going on dates,
Yeah.
you know, you married, and we'll come on to the title of the book, being My Years as a Married Virgin. And I love that. But, you know, how the dating scene as a Mormon, tell me how that works. What, you know,
Well, listen, there were things I loved about dating as a Mormon that I still think now about that are so fun. They take you on real dates. They plan it out. It's like the 50s. They drive to your door. They pick you up. They drop you off at the door. There's no pressure to have sex because you'll get
you're not allowed to even have sex.
Yeah, you'll get in trouble. Yeah.
But it's a PPP, so it's the pairing. How does that? It's like
okay, so there's the 3 P's in Mormon dating, right? It's not a date if it's not paired. So 2 people, paid, usually the man needs to pay, and planned. So if someone's like, hey, let's go hang out, that's not a date, that's a hangout. You need to plan ahead. You need to ask me out ahead. And this is something I still use now in dating. I'm like, paired, paid, and planned. Otherwise, it's not a date. We're just friends. We're just hanging out. You know?
I know. It's such an interesting thing. And you were brilliant. Also, I love how you talk about in the book that you researched how to date, and you even decided to flip it the other way and go, The Game, that book, The Game. So tell me what...
So there's the famous book, The Game, by Neil Strauss. And in that book, it's essentially a guy who's trying to figure out how to get all the hot girls to date him and like how to get all these. It's a pickup artist book. And I was in high school and I was like, I'm going to read the pickup artist book.
Because that's what the boys are doing.
That's what the boys are doing. And I'm going to reverse Uno them. So I
help you reverse Uno. Is that, I read that in the book. Is that when you actually are playing Uno and you revert? Literally, it's
you reverse.
Game.
Like they think they're going to win and then you put the Uno reverse and you're like, you lost. Surprise. So I was like, I'm going to Uno reverse dating. And so I knew all the tricks guys did. And so have you heard of negging?
No, I haven't heard. Tell me what negging is.
Negging is when a guy kind of puts you down a little bit to make you like a little insecure so that you like him more. So it's never like an obvious thing, because then you would just say,
very gentle gaslight.
That's rude. Yes. They'd be like, oh, like your hair looks so good today. As opposed to not the other days, right? So I knew all these games that men did. And so when I was dating, if anyone tried any of these tricks on me, I was like, no, you're not going to win. But at the same time, I was young and I had never dated before. Nobody liked me in high school. I never went on a date in high school. And so in university, suddenly I was like a hot commodity. I don't know what happened. Something about...
blossomed.
I blossomed. And I also started doing something I would never do now, which is I mirrored the people I was dating. So I became your dream girl. You like Nickelback? I love Nickelback.
So you're going to start dressing a bit like Nickelback and...
Oh, I dressed exactly how you're a cowboy. I'm a cowgirl. Hello. Yeah, let's go. So I was trying so hard to be everyone's dream girl that I like was never actually going to find my dream guy, because I was just I just wanted so badly to like find someone. And I was young and immature.
In your religion, it's all about finding someone. So when you did find who became your husband. How
Yeah.
did that all come about? Was he a cowboy? Was he into Nickelback? What was his thing?
No. So by the time I met him, I was a little bit more myself.
Mm-hmm.
But there were still parts when I look back of things that I was like, are those me or was I mirroring? Like he was homeschooled. And so I was like, oh, I want to homeschool my kids. Like I love homeschooling, right? I don't even want kids. That's the irony. I don't want children. But back then I kind of assumed I had to have children. So I kind of was like, no one's going to marry me.
In the religion, I guess that's the sort of, you're doing what
The
everyone
whole
else
point
does.
of being alive in Mormonism is to have kids.
Yeah.
If you don't have kids, like, what are you even doing here?
What's the purpose?
Why are you here? Yeah.
Okay.
So he was a nice guy. He loved to travel. I genuinely loved to travel. So we had a real connection on that. He was smart and I like smart guys. And so we really connect. He was into business and I'm very business minded, which I didn't realize then. I now, in retrospect, realize that was something we connected on. It's just, I was not like sexually attracted to him, which my mom had always taught me, like, sexual attraction can grow, sexual attraction can grow. So you should just be with someone who's a good person and that you like. So that's what I did. I was like, he's a great person. We're like best friends, but there wasn't that attraction there.
So as you say in the book, you were a married virgin. So did you ever have sex with your husband?
I never had sex with my husband. Before the marriage, during the marriage, or after the marriage. We were married for 3 years and we never had sex.
Wow.
So because I was religious when I got married, I was a super virgin, nothing close. Wedding night, I could not have sex. My body just shut down. My vagina would not open. Nothing, like I have to show people, like nothing could go in. It was like this. Nope. People don't understand. They're like, what do you mean? No, my body just shut.
Yeah.
It was like, it didn't feel tight.
But you've been taught for so many years that you're not allowed to have sex. Your brain goes, right, I can't have sex. Oh, now I've got to have sex now.
And I don't actually want to. Yeah.
That's terrifying.
I'm scary. I was scared of penises. Like the concept, I was like, this is terrifying.
Are you allowed to dabble with penises before you get married?
No, you cannot dabble.
You can't even just
you can't even look. You can't touch. You can't see.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it's like, my brain just never developed sexually. It was like a little kid that's like, oh my God, this is like scary to me.
Yeah.
I was 21 at the time, 22, 21.
When you got married.
When I got married. I felt very old, by the way. I was like, I'm so old. I need to get married now before I'm too old.
Gosh. So you divorced without sealing the deal with the husband.
Yeah, we never had sex.
And so what I think people find extraordinary is like all these TV shows, etc., with the Mormon wives.
Yeah.
People are absolutely fascinated by it. What do you think about that people are so drawn to this sort of Mormon wives on TV? And it's huge in America, and I know it's getting more and more popular in the UK.
I think for the TV shows, they're drawn to them because of there's some secrecy in Mormonism. Like, we pretend we're not secret, but there are a lot of secret things. Mormons are strict. A lot of modern religions are not strict anymore. Like most modern Jews are not strict. You just do whatever you want, right? Catholics, no one follows any rules, right? Most Christians, nobody's following any rules. Mormons, you really follow the rules. So I think it's rare to have, and we're also kind of like semi-normal. Like you won't see a Mormon on the street and know they're Mormon. If you see an Orthodox Jew, you're like, okay, they're Orthodox Jew, right? You see like a super conservative Muslim, they have a hijab or they have whatever, or a Sikh, they have their turban. Mormons, you can't really tell on the street. So
they're looking more, which I think is the interesting piece, is, as you said, appearance is all. You have to look good. So actually you really don't, because in so many other religions, it's like you wear makeup, you're not supposed to show your face, your beauty is hidden. Whereas in the Mormon community. So actually the beauty industry loves a Mormon woman because she's going nuts on all the
she's spending all her money on hair extensions, on hair dye, on beauty I mean, when I was Mormon, I was like slowly figuring out how many women had like breast augmentations. And I was so confused because I was like, wait, we're supposed to like respect our bodies and love how we are. but it's totally normalized to do surgeries. And it just didn't make sense in my brain. I was like, how does the church allow this, but I can't drink a matcha?
Yeah.
Like, how is matcha not allowed, but I'm allowed to get breast surgery?
Caffeine.
You can't have coffee. It's not technically caffeine because like chocolate has caffeine and you can have hot cocoa. So the rule is actually something from our book. You know, we have the Book of Mormon and then we have another book called Doctrine and Covenants. So in the Doctrine and Covenants, there's something called the Word of Wisdom, which is all about health. So you cannot have hot drinks, which they have defined as coffee, tea like not
caffeine.
herbal tea, but caffeinated tea,
Caffeine
like
tea.
green tea, black tea, jasmine tea, this is not allowed. Matcha. I'm very bad.
As I like to say, you're no longer with the religion, so you're having matcha.
Or do what I
So
want.
you can do what you want.
Do what I want. And you can't, and then it's controversial if you can have like Diet Coke or not, because that has caffeine. So some Mormons are anti-Diet Coke, and some are pro-Coke. It's a whole thing.
So it must be absolutely, so that's why you can see why people are absolutely intrigued by all these women I think, you know, you went to a Mormon university and all these women who are doing all their social posts. I mean, it is from an outsider fascinating.
Virginal women that you can't have sex with. So from the male perspective, when I was Mormon and I was traveling the world I still traveled, I went out, people would meet me and they're like, oh my God, like you're like a virgin and you're Mormon and you're so, like, men love that.
Yeah.
And like in a way that I find repulsive, but
yeah, because they're like the only person, they'll be the one that there must be some sort of, you know, in a man's brain, it's like, she hasn't been touched. Yes. And I'm the only one who's going to be doing this.
And I was a virgin till I was 27. So I had this extended experience of meeting men age 20, because I was single at 25 again, meeting men 25. They didn't believe that I never had sex, some of them. And once they did believe you, they're like, oh my God, I must have her. So I think that's part of the media obsession.
Yeah.
Is kind of like these beautiful girls, like on this TV show, right? The Sex Lives of Mormon Wives. These beautiful women that like you can't have, but like they're a little bit bad girls and like they're breaking the rules, right? Like I think we love to see people breaking these rules.
Yeah, you like them to slightly come off the rails, but we like to have the sort of the guardrails and people sort of breaking out.
Yeah.
And I know you have had sex since then, but I don't want to tell anyone about it because they need to read the book to see it, because you do have sex with a guy, and
at some point.
And I love how you frame it, but I think people need to read the book to get the full impact and get the whole build up to it.
Yeah.
So when you then broke free from when you left the Mormon church, you can now wear what you want, be what you want. What were the most liberating things that you felt?
I think for me, the most liberating things were the small things. It wasn't like, oh, I can drink coffee, or oh, I could have sex or whatever. It was literally like, I just want to wear a tank top. I'm hot. I don't want to sweat. Like, I just want to not have a t-shirt on every day of my life. I just want to wear a tank top. Like, I just want to wear a skirt and not feel like the worst person on earth. Like when it's summer, you know?
And did your makeup change? How you put makeup on?
I have the exact same makeup as when I was girl. My makeup has not developed since I'm 12. I would wear the same foundation as when I was 12 if they didn't discontinue it.
So you use a CoverGirl. It's the CoverGirl makeup. You used CoverGirl. Have we upgraded since then?
Unfortunately, yes, because they stopped making CoverGirl Aqua Smooth. So
you used to warm up at your 5 o'clock makeup session. You'd be up at the crack of dawn doing your hair.
Using the free little applicator that came in this plastic container, and I would, like, this deep breath, like, to warm it so that it would melt onto my skin. Because it was so cold in the mornings in Los Angeles. Not that cold compared to here, but I was freezing.
But so your makeup look has not changed. So your makeup hasn't changed, but your clothes, it's very weird, isn't it? I think it's kind of like really contradictory that your makeup could be whatever you wanted. And you could be as, excuse the term, but like painted, I guess. Yeah. That was always seen as, historically, that too much makeup was never seen as a good thing. And women, it was like you're either a mother with not much makeup and your innocence.
Well, no one really does these extreme, they avoid extremes.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't have extreme makeup. Also, you can't have dyed hair at my university if it's a non-natural color. So you can dye
Okay.
it blonde, but you can't have like pink hair or green hair. So you can't actually have
So you
like
couldn't do Avril Lavigne?
expressive looks.
Okay.
No.
Oh, expressive looks at the top.
No.
But it was weird because you've got the face that you can kind of do appropriate, modest makeup, but the clothing seems to be contradictory to that.
Well, and the clothing, they want you to look, it's all these annoying things where it's like they want you to look nice. You're supposed to look beautiful, but not like slutty.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to have like a nice figure, but you're not supposed to wear tight clothes.
Mm.
Like you can't wear leggings at my university. You know, like Lululemon black, like that's, you're not allowed because it's considered the same as wearing like tights per se. Like you're too naked, right?
It's absolutely fascinating because when you look at like the Muslim religion and what the certain sects of that, they get you to cover up and you can't show your body, and likewise Mormons sound like it's a bit like that. What I've always thought is it seems like it's the men that've got the issue. It's like, why can men not cope in society with women who choose to show what nature has brought them? And that's always seems it's like, hang on, you're criticizing me for not covering my body up. Why can't you cope with that? What do you think? That's an interesting...
I think it's a distraction. And one thing that I finally realized after years of dealing with all of this is I was like, so much of my brain space is going towards dressing modestly but looking hot. Like there's this saying in the Mormon church, modest is hottest, right? So I was like, so much of my brain power is going towards my eating disorder, what I eat. It's like this devil's distraction from, and I realized that at some point. I was like, oh, I've just spent 10 to 15 years thinking about how many grapes I ate today, thinking about if my hair is straight, thinking about what if my garments, because in Mormonism you have to wear religious clothing under your normal clothing.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So you have to wear like these white underwear that go all the way to your knee, that cover here, so also trying to look pretty with 2 layers of clothes on.
And that makes you feel even as a
uglier
and fatter.
Yes.
Then you...
And then it presses on your stomach because there's like, it's a high waist band of these, they're called, people joke they're Mormon underwear, right? But we call them temple garments. And it's just, I was like, now this huge burden, it's like carrying this bundle everywhere you're going. You can't even see what you're just like, just get out of my face.
And does this make you feel freer now?
Yes. I have so much empty, free space in my brain. I can think about my career. I can think about my friendships. I can think about like the life I want to build as opposed to like all these tiny, annoying distractions that are just like, who cares if you can see my shoulders? This is not going to define if I go to heaven or not. This is not going to make a man like, attack me or not. If I have my 1 inch of shoulder out, like, my God, like, let me just, like, even that, you're not allowed to say God's name in vain. So if I say my God, oh, I can't say my God. I need to censor. It's exhausting, girl. It's exhausting. It's like, and women have this even that are not Mormon. Like, people are trying to distract us from doing real things and living our lives by having us think about our hair and our makeup and our food and our eating disorders and our, whatever. And I'm not against beauty. I clearly put effort into looking nice, but there is a limit. And you need to also use your brain space for like whatever you want to do that is outside of looking a certain way. It's like, oh my God, it's exhausting.
I could talk to you forever, but we
Yes.
sadly really need to wrap up, which I'm very annoyed about. But I really implore people to read this because it just really makes you feel amazing. And a lot of the points you're just making are in the book.
Yes.
People can read this to find out how you did finally have sex, which is great. So a massive thank you to Alyne Tamir. Her book, Dear Alyne, is out to buy now. And if you are affected by a conversation around eating disorders, please visit beateatingdisorders.org for more information. That's it for True Reflections this week. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe wherever you're watching or listening, and you can find me across your social media by searching True Reflections Podcast. I'll be back next week with another celebrity to talk through their beauty experiences, their favourite products, and delving deeper into how the ideals of beauty shapes not just our physical appearance, but also the core of our identities. Until then, have a lovely week.